changing fractions to decimals and decimal to percent. Let's go. So, if we're going to change fraction to decimal, so let us start with changing fractions to decimal. We have to consider what kind of fraction are we changing first, because different fractions can have different ways of changing it to decimal, not just divide. Okay? So, let's begin with if the fraction has a denominator of 10, 100, 1,000, and the like. So, kapag yung denominator niya 10, 100, or 1,000. Example of these fractions are 2/10, 15/100, 130/1000. Yan. Those fractions has denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. To change these fractions into decimal, ang una mong gagawin, you write the numerator. And then, locate kung nasa ng decimal point. For a whole number, nandito lagi ang decimal point nasa dulo. Okay? Now, the number of 0, kung ilan ang 0 sa denominator, will determine ilang decimal places mayroon ang decimal number na to kapag change natin. So, 10 has 1 0, therefore there is 1 decimal place. So, we're going to move the decimal point papuntang kaliwa. Since 1 yan, so isang decimal place papuntang kaliwa. So, therefore, 2/10 is equal to 0.2 in decimal. Next, 15/100. So, write the numerator 15 and then locate the decimal point. Nandyan siya. The denominator is 100. So, dalawa yung 0. So, therefore, there's going to be 2 decimal places yung decimal number natin. Move the decimal point 2 times to the left, 1, 2. So, nandyan na siya. So, that is 0.15. 15/100 is 0.15 in decimal. Next, 130/1000. Write the numerator, 130, and then nandito lagi ang decimal point ng isang whole number. We have 3 zeros on your denominator. So, we will move to 3 decimal places to the left. 1, 2, 3. So, nandito na yung decimal point. So, that's 0.130. So, 130/1000 is 0.130 in decimal number. Okay? How about 25/10? Write the numerator 25. Then this is your decimal point. You have 1 0 on your denominator. Therefore, there's 1 decimal place sa decimal number. Move your decimal point to the left. Isa lang. So, therefore, it's 2.5. 25/10 is 2.5 in decimal. Last, 7/100. Write the numerator 7. This is your decimal point. You have 2 zeros on your denominator. So, 2 decimal places to the left. 1, 2. Fill the space with 0. So, therefore, 7/100 is 0.07 in decimal. Okay? Next. If our fraction doesn't have a denominator na 10, 100, or 1,000, but possible na gawin siyang 10, 100, or 1,000. So, you have to change. We can change the denominator to 10, 100, or 1,000. Or yung iba pa. Okay? Example, 3 over 5. The denominator is not 10, 100, or 1,000, but it is possible na gawin natin siyang 10, 100, or 1,000. So, we have to look for a factor na imumultiply natin sa 5 para maging ganon. So, if we're going to multiply the denominator by 2, we have to multiply the numerator by 2 as well. So, that's 3 times 2 is 6 over 10. And then, again, going back to number 1, you have one decimal place only kasi isa lang ang 0. So, 6 over 10 is 0.6 in decimal. Next, 11 over 20. Look for a factor na pwedeng i-multiply sa 20 for it to become power of 10. So, we can multiply it to 5. So, we're going to multiply the numerator by 5 as well. So, 11 times 5 is 55 over 20 times 5 is 100. Then, change it to decimal. 55 over 100 is 0.55. Next, another example. Let us try 21 over 25. So, let us multiply the denominator by 4. So, 21 times 4 is equal to 84. 25 times 4 is equal to 100. So, 84 over 100 is 0.84. Let's have another example. 115 over 125. So, we can multiply the denominator 125 by 8. At ganun din sa numerator, we're going to multiply the numerator by 8. 115 times 8 is 920 over 125 times 8 is 1,000. Change it to decimal, it's 0.920. Okay? That's the second fraction. For the third fraction kasi, for the third kind of fraction, ito yung mga fraction that is neither the number 1 or the number 2. So, it doesn't have a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. Hindi ka rin makakahanap ng factor to multiply the denominator para maging power of 10. So, what you can do only is to divide the numerator by the denominator. Such fractions are, say, 2/3. 3, the denominator 3 obviously is not a power of 10. And you cannot find a factor, or you will never find a factor na pwede mong i-multiply sa 3 para maging power of 10. So, what you can do is just divide 2 by 3. And the result is 0.6666 and so on and so forth. Or, it can be written as 0.6 bar. The bar on top of the digit symbolizes a repeating decimal. Okay? Another, 5 over 7. You will never find a factor that can be multiplied to 7 para maging power of 10. So, all we can do to change this is to divide 5 by 7. And the result is 0.714285. It is also a repeating non-terminating decimal. Last is, let us try 4 over 11. So, you will never find a factor to multiply 11 with para maging power of 10. So, you're just going to divide 4 by 11. And the result is 0.36. Yan. So, and that's how we change a fraction to a decimal number. Now, let us change decimal to fraction. Okay? In changing decimal to fraction, it's very important that we locate kung nasaan ang decimal number. Because doon magsisimula ang step natin para ma-change natin yung decimal into fraction. So, let's have an example. Number 1 is 0.32. Okay? So, ang gagawin natin, locate the decimal point there. And then, dalhin natin siya sa further right. Sa pinakadulo. That's 1, 2. Para maging whole number siya. And then, the number of decimal places na tinalo natin will correspond to the number of zeros sa denominator. So, that's 32 over, since nakadalawang talon tayo, that's 32 over 100. Okay? And then, we can just simplify it. Reduce it to lowest term by dividing it by 4. So, 32 divided by 4 is 8 over 25. So, 0.32 is 8 over 25 in fraction. Okay? Another. 0.155. Okay? So, again, locate kung nasan si decimal point. And then, dalhin natin siya sa pinakadulong kanan. 1, 2, 3. Para maging whole number siya, 155. And then, the number of decimal places will correspond to the number of zeros. Since tatlo yan, so the denominator is 1,000. Reduce it to lowest term. Divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. 155 divided by 5 is 31. And 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. So, 0.115 in fraction is 31 over 200. Next, paano pa ganito? 4.35. Okay? How are we going to change that into fraction? So, pwede mong gawin, ang tignan mo na lang, itong decimal point. Okay? I'm sorry, the decimal number. So, that's, nandito yung decimal point and then you have 35. So, move, para maging whole number siya, again, move to the right. So, nakadalawa tayo. So, that's 35 over 100. And then, we can reduce it to lowest term by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 5. So, 35 divided by 5 is 7 over 20. Then, tsaka na lang natin siya idagdag dun sa natitirang whole number na 4. So, our final answer is 4 and 7 over 20. Okay? How about 0.06? So, again, the same, hanapin kung nasaan si decimal point, dalhin sa pinakadulong kanan, so nakadalawang decimal place tayo. So, the whole number is 6 over, since 2 decimal places, so that is 100, kasi dalawang 0. Okay? And just reduce the fraction to lowest term, divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. So, 0.06 is equal to 3 over 50 kapag fraction. Okay? So, let us focus on this kind of decimal. The repeating, we call it the repeating non-terminating decimals. There. The repeating non-terminating decimals. Let's have an example. The 0.3. Ayan. So, this is also written as 0.3333 and so on and so forth. Kapag ganito ang decimal natin, how are we going to change it into fraction? Okay, ganito yan. So, una, please take note kung ilang digit yung nauulit. Okay? In 0.3333, isang digit lang yung nauulit, and that is 3. So, every number of digits na nauulit will corresponds to the number of nines na ilalagay natin sa denominator. Isa lang yung 3, so isa lang yung 9 na ilalagay. Okay? And then, you're just going to write yung digit na ulit on your numerator, and that is 3. And then just reduce it to lowest term. Divide the numerator and the denominator by 3, so that is 1/3. 0.3333 is equal to 1/3 in fraction. Let's have another example. 0.25, then may bar sa taas. So, ibig sabihin, this is 0.2525 infinitely. So, how are we going to change this in fraction, this repeating non-terminating decimal? So, like in number 1, ilan ba yung digit na nauulit? The 2 and the 5. Dalawa. So, the 0 on our denominator, the 9 on our denominator, dalawa. And then, ano yung mga digits na naulit? That is going to be your numerator, which is 25. So, therefore, 0.252525 is equal to 25/99 in fraction. Another, number 3, 0.125 bar. Okay? This is also 0.125, 125, 125, and so on, infinitely. Okay? So, ilang digits ang nauulit? There are 3. So, there are 3 nines. 1, 2, 3. And then, ano yung digits na nauulit? 1, 2, 5. So, write on your numerator the 1, 2, 5. So, 0.125 bar is 125/99 in fraction. Okay? Paano naman pag ganito? 0.75 bar. Ang nauulit lang na digit dito is yung 5, hindi kasama yung 7. How are we going to change this in fraction? So, medyo iba ang ruling pag ganito. Okay? So, yung number ng digit na nauulit will correspond to the number of nines sa denominator. Since 5 ang nauulit, isa lang, so meron kang isang 9 sa denominator. Next, yung number ng digit na hindi nauulit will correspond to the number of zeros on your denominator. Since isa lang ang hindi nauulit like the 7, meron kang isang 0. So, your denominator is 90. Okay. Next, pagdating sa numerator, you're going to write this 7 and 5 on your numerator. Minus dun sa number na hindi nauulit, which is 7. So, 75 minus 7 is equal to 68/90. So, 0.755555 is equal to 68/90 in fraction. Let's try another. Number 5. 0.246666 and so on and so forth. Ayan. So, again, ilang digits yung nauulit? Isa lang, which is 6. So, isang 9 lang sa denominator. Ilang digits yung hindi nauulit? Dalawa, 2 and 4. So, our 0 on the denominator are dalawa. Next, sa numerator, you're going to write this the 246 minus yung digits na hindi na ulit, which is 24. So, 246 minus 24 is 222 over 900. So, 0.246666 is equal to 22 over 900 in fraction. Okay? Last, 0.3215 Okay? Ilang digits yung nauulit? Tatlo. The 2, 1, and 5. So, ang 9 mo sa denominator, tatlo. Ilang digit yung hindi nauulit? Isa lang. So, you have 1, 0 on your denominator. Next, for the numerator, you will write 3,215 minus dun sa hindi nauulit, which is 3. So, 3,215 minus 3 is 3,212 over 9,990. So, this is your 0.3215215 in decimal. Okay? Next, let us change decimal to percent. Okay, in changing decimal to percent, look for the decimal point. And then, magmo-move lang tayo ng 2 decimal places to the right. Laging dalawa. Example, 0.34. So, move the decimal places always 2 decimal places to the right. 1, 2. And then, write the percent sign. So, 0.34 is 34% in percent form. Another, 0.513. So, move the decimal point 2 decimal places to the right. 1, 2. So, that is 51.3%. 0.513 is 51.3% in percent form. Another, 6.04. Again, move 2 decimal places to the right. 1, 2. And that is 604%. Okay? 0.0025. Move 2 decimal places to the right. 1, 2. So that is 0.25%. Always 2. Laging dalawa lang. Okay? Now, let us change fractions to percent. Pag ganito naman, we have to make sure that denominator is equal to 100. Okay? Kapag 100 na yung denominator, we can cancel that out and replace it with a percent sign. Example, 4 over 5. So, kailangan gawin natin 100 yung denominator. So, let us multiply 4 over 5 by 20 over 20. There. So, 4 times 20 is 80 over 5 times 20 is 100. Pag 100 na yung denominator natin, you can cancel that out. Pwede mo siyang palitan ng percent sign. Another, 7 over 10. So, para gawing 100 yung denominator, let us multiply both numerator and denominator by 10. So, 7 times 10 is 70 over 100. You can cancel this denominator and then palitan siya ng percent sign. Last, 27 over 50. Okay? So, para maging 100 yung denominator, let us multiply the numerator and the denominator by 2. So, 27 times 2 is 54 over 100. So, cancel the denominator, palitan natin ng percent sign. Okay? And that's how we change a fraction to decimal and decimal to percent as well as fraction to percent.